Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today with my dear friend, Mapy Gomes from Mexico, which I met in Brussels while we were living in Brussels. And we became dear friends because our kids went to the same kindergarten, and that's how we knew each other. Hi, Mapy.
Hi, Renata. I'm very, very happy to see you and to be here.
Thank you. So, you traveled before becoming a mom, you traveled quite a lot. Uh, yes,
Indeed,
you were
indeed.
like in the Middle East and Asia, and with mainly MSF, Medecins Sans Frontières, or with other organizations too.
Mainly Medecins Sans Frontières.
Mhm.
I was able to be in every single continent of the world. I had been very, very lucky in many countries of each continent. But I also work with Catholic Relief Services, that is another NGO from United States, and also with United Nations, with UN OCHA. But the big majority was with MSF Holland in particular.
And you went to risky places where no one wants to go because it's, usually Medecins Sans Frontières go to where no one wants to go because those places where people need help. Was you ever like afraid of going there?
To be very honest, no. I was too excited to go. My job was my passion for many, many years. And of course, I was single, as you said, and then that made these kind of adventures very easy. But it was a couple of moments that after you are there, when all of the adrenaline goes a little bit lower, is when you realize, oh, wow, I should have not done that. I have done this differently. But no, it has been very, very good. My passion was to try to help people. And that's why I was just ready to move. And I was very lucky to be able to see the results. And that's what was keeping me moving.
You had to leave your home. I mean, you are from Mexico. Was your family supportive of your dream?
Yes, they were very supportive. My parents, for their generation, they were extremely supportive because um, they knew that when I studied to become a doctor, I wanted to help people. That was the main reason. And I work in the hometown in a big hospital, and then I work in a remote area in the south of Mexico. And my parents went to drop me there and to see where I was living. And after I moved to United States for a little bit, and then to Central America and Guatemala. And my mom used to say, "Oh, every time you're moving farther and farther." And when I went to Africa, she said, "Well, definitely you are not coming back home or
Mm.
to be established at home." And but she was there. She was always there. They were always excited. They were always asking and interested in what I was doing. And they were super supportive. And my brothers and sisters as well.
Mhm. And then one day you become a mom, and it somehow changed the way you work, right? You got more.
Completely. Yeah, no, totally. It's as I said before, to be a single is just as a matter of getting your bag and be ready. To be a mom is thinking where to go, what to do, what kind of risk can you take, because your priorities change. Your priority is the well-being of your son, your daughter, and then you. Not always the best
Mm.
decision to put yourself as in second place, but that's naturally that's what you do, and that's what I was doing.
And how did you live that transition? Because I know that your job has always been a passion for you. You've always been passionate about the work you did and on the field. So how was that internally? Like realizing that I have to somehow, for at least a certain period of time, choose. I have to choose.
I think that it happens just to have that little one in front of you and to
Mhm.
have the joy of seeing him moving, identifying their hands, then the crawling, then the walking, and you don't want to lose that opportunity to see, to be witness of these changes and the impressive miracle of life.
Mm.
And that's what it happens. It was so natural, and we were moving at that moment from Asia to Africa. Sorry, from Asia to Europe, and it's when I went to Belgium, and then it was just it comes by itself. Then you need to establish, you need to be there, you need to start looking for the schools and growing, and time passed, and I spent 5 years there when I was not working, and it was fantastic. Of course, it was itchy when someone called me and said, "Oh, do you want to go to the field?" I was like, "I would love to, but I can't. I need to be with my son." And it was not difficult. It was not difficult because I have the gratification of having my son
Mm.
and seeing him and live with him and laugh with him, and that was fantastic.
Have you always dreamed about becoming a mom? You know, like there are like some of us, like since we were young girls, we were playing with dolls, imagining this is our baby. And some others, it came later when we really had this baby in our arms, when you felt, oh, I'm a mom. So what's your story with motherhood?
I think that the majority of the girls, we do have this maternal instinct. Not everybody, but the big majority. And in your mind, yeah, you have that. It was not my priority, I need to admit. I have always said, if I become a mom, if I become a mom, I would love to be half of the good mother that my mother was. But I never have as a goal, like when I'm 20, I'm going to have a kid. Some I know I have seen some patients that they have that. And probably that's when it becomes more complicated because it becomes more a goal in your life. And I think that life gives you too many things. And to become a mother is one of the privilege that life gives you. And when I got married, I thought, okay, if again it happens, it will happen.
Mm.
And it happened. And that was the most amazing moment to know that it was there, that I will become a mom, and that my responsibilities to take care of, it was changing from the entire group of people that I want to help to this one single person
Mm.
that it was in front of me. And then it was fantastic. It was the most amazing year, 9 months when I was pregnant. And we have a relation from the very beginning. We talk to each other, well, not to each other, but I talk to him, to that baby every morning, and Vincent as well. And that make a certain bond. And then when he came out, then you hold it, as you say, is a very special feeling that probably you will not be able to describe until you feel it.
Mm.
And that was the transition. That's how it happens. And it was probably that's why it was not so difficult to be some years without working,
Mm.
because you live so many adventures in the first year of life and in the first 5 years of life with your children. Yeah.
It seems so full of life, like the way you talk about it, like it's assumed, like it was no trouble to leave my job, because then I was a full mom for 5 years and I enjoy it. It like I could feel this joy stemming from your story. It's so I don't know, it's so calm and enthusiastic at the same time. And you said a lovely thing about your mom. You said that if I am half as good as my mom, because usually that's not how we define ourselves. We say, if I'm not half as bad as my mom, because most of us had maybe not relation we expected to have with our moms, and we become a mom and we say, okay, I'm not going to repeat the same errors my mom did. I'm not going to repeat the same way the mom wasn't available for me. And you said, if I am just half as good as my mom, what a lovely thing to say.
It is because she was an amazing woman. She was an amazing mother she was a full-time mom of 6 kids. And sometimes we feel that we are drowning with one kid or two. And then sometimes I feel like, how did she manage to do with 6 kids?
Mhm.
But she had time for each of us. She was very strict. She was the mom, the typical mom that you need to do this, you need to do that, but she did it in a way that you knew that it was not your obligation, but it was part of being a family, and then you need to cooperate.
Mm.
And at the same time, it has the time to play. It has the time to enjoy. It has the time to ask you, how was your school? Uh, what did you do? She was strict to say, okay, time to do your homework, and why you are not paying attention. But it was the balance. It was the balance of being a mom where you need to put limits, and being the friend that he can play with you. And she had 6 kids of completely different ages, but
Mm.
she was able to listen to everybody, to share with everybody. And that's something that sometimes we miss because we are too much in a hurry, too busy. Um, and we can think, oh, yeah, but the mothers don't work. And I think that the right way to say is the mothers, and they are full-time mothers, they don't work outside the house, because when you are a full-time mother, you work a lot. You are the driver, you are the cook, you are the cleaning lady, you are the nurse, you are everything. And we don't realize how strong is that work until you do it.
Mm.
And then in between games, she tries to make you participate. It's like, okay, we were playing that we were friends and we were going to cook together. And then I peeled the veggies with her, or she asked that we go and check the laundry together. Then that's the way that you do it, is how you teach your kids, but also how you create a bond, and also to teach them. Because some kids, when they leave the house, they don't even know how to put the laundry and how to do those kind of things or simple things.
Mm.
And that was something that my mother was always there. She was so fantastic that one very interesting anecdote is that she was strict, but she was there for you always. I was in 5th year of primary, and I needed to crochet something, and it was almost the end of the school year, and I need to finish because it was part of my assignments. And it was midnight, and I was crocheting, and my mom was in front of me, and but she didn't help me because it was my responsibility, and I need to learn to be responsible. But she was there, sitting in front of me, and asking me, "Do you want some tea? Do you want some hot milk? Do you want?" Then that's the something that gets in your memory, and then you said, "Wow, it shows your responsibility, but you count with somebody there." Like, no, I think that's why I can give you an enormous amount of special moments with my mother. And that's why I thought, if I can do it. And even now, she's not with me anymore, but sometimes I think, oh, please help me to think how I'm going to do this, because she has a special touch, definitely.
Was she a traditional Mexican mom? I mean, how is the traditional Mexican mama? How is she? Was she similar to your mom, or how? Yeah, what does it look like?
I, I, I don't think that there is a traditional as such, because now remember that society is different depending the background where you grew up, the possibilities that you have. And that's an important point to consider, because a mom who is from a, and I don't think that it's only in Mexico, but in all what I have seen in my traveling, it is exactly the same situation, the same pattern in many countries. The people who have more, have a little bit more possibilities to have somebody to help. And then, yes, it can be a traditional mom, but it does different things, because that's the type of life that they have. There can be moms that have nothing or nobody to help, and they need to go to wash their clothes in the river when we can wash our clothes in the washing machine. And then there is, I found that not super tradition, but I understand the traditional part that you're talking about is as a mom, as an activity.
Mm.
And yes, she was. She was the mom who, it gives you all the attention. Wake up early, be ready to prepare the breakfast, be sure that your kids are eating healthy before they go to school, be clean and ready to go, and be on time in the school, pick them up on time, have ready something to eat for lunch, and do homework, allow you to look at, to watch some TV, be attentive of what you are watching, and then say, okay, halas, it's no more time, and then go take a shower. In that sense, yes, she was. But it was not traditional, because I think that for my mom, she was a little bit ahead of her time,
Mhm.
because she was ready to talk about many topics that not necessarily were sometimes easy, because she grew up in a different generation than it was more traditional.
Mhm.
But she was open to talk, she was open to listen, she was not judgmental. And that's an important thing when you're a mother. You need to be ready to say, this is good, this is not, but don't judge your kids.
Mhm.
And
I
I
I
think that was good.
I didn't I didn't know your mom except through her stories when you talk about her, but when you tell those stories, I have this loving presence feeling. Like you are in the contact of love itself, like there's this loving presence, but also a very strong center. So someone who wouldn't like do anything for kids, like, oh, you want to climb on the roof? Yeah, sure, let's go. Oh, you don't want to eat my dinner? Yeah, sure, I'm going to do another one. No, not that. Just loving presence as a base for everything. But then knowing herself too, knowing her, like her worth. And as you say, she was ahead of time. So having this very strong axis center. And then from there, giving this love, but also like saying what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, being strong but loving.
Indeed, you are completely right. You catch the picture that I want to give of my mother, because she was exactly like that. And we have many years in between. Then that was even more, for me, it was more admirable, because it has my oldest brother in university, and it has kids in primary. And then you hear and you have time, and you need to balance, and you need to be ready, but with the center. And it didn't matter if he was the old one that he thinks that he can do whatever. No, he knew that he needs to be in a certain time and a certain responsibilities. And the small one, he cannot go out to play if he don't finish the homework. Then yes, it was always something according to the age. And I think that that's essential, because sometimes we are just very strict, or we think that to be a good mom or to be a good dad is to say no to this or yes to this. And we need to be very careful not to go to extremes, and to analyze that kids are different. And that is something that my mother used to say, because sometimes, of course, you say, oh, no, you love more my oldest brother or my oldest sister or the youngest. And she was always saying, I love all of you, but I love you different. because all of you are different. But my love is the same to all of you. It's just, to me, it becomes like, okay, yeah, it's the adaptation to everything.
Yes.
And that was I feel it. I feel that love different, but not because it was more or less. It was because she needs to hug me when he needs to talk to my oldest brother, right? In the sense of age. It was, and now that he's not there, I can tell you that all of us can appreciate and realize how important was that love and that listening and that understanding. And I really think that it doesn't matter where you grew up or which background do you have, is the most important thing, being a parent.
So tell us, Mapy, what mom are you?
Wow, this is a very, very difficult question.
I know.
Look, I try to be, I try to listen. I try to give a lot of love because I have only one child and it's the love of my life, of course. And I told him how much I love him, but I told him that part of my love is not allow him everything that he wants. Is to teach him what to do. Is to tell him why this is not correct. But that doesn't mean that I don't love him, because sometimes the kids can feel that, yeah, you say that you love me, but you are always telling me, nah, 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 nah. And, and I explained that is part of the love. If I didn't love him, I would let him to do whatever. Then I think that I'm trying to be a little bit like my mom, but I cannot compare. Definitely not at all. But I'm trying to be like all of us, the best mom that is possible. And I know that my time, my job, because I went back after 5 years, I went back to work. I need to divide my job between my time between my job and my motherhood. And sometimes I think that I don't manage to balance correctly. I have too much time for my work, and I try to fit in between um, time for my child and then a little bit of time. And I think that we need to be careful with that. But is the mother time, is the world asks us to do that. And it's not asking us and then we follow, but there are the circumstances, is the moment, is the only way that couples can go out if the two of them work, because we are trying to look for giving our kids the best that we can give them. But one thing that I realized, and I need to repeat to myself, is the best thing that we can give them is our time, our love, and then they know it. But of course, it's not always easy, and then you need to learn how to balance. And that is something that I'm still learning, and I hope that one day I can really learn to find the right formula for the balance. But then I cannot really give you a concrete answer, except that I'm a mom that is trying to do her best, and sometimes struggle on the balance, and sometimes wonders if he's doing the right thing. But and I don't think that I'm alone. But but that is something that when my son comes and he hugs me and he gives me kisses, and then I feel like I'm doing a good job. And sometimes when he's upset, and me too, is I feel like, oh, I'm not doing the best thing that I can. But I think that it's ups and downs that we will always find in this amazing job that needs to become a father or a mother.
I think you receive your mom heritage, because if I had to define you as a mom, I remember those days we spent at our house together, like with kids playing, and I remember you always had this loving presence. You always had this, even if you say like but you know, you can say that in so many different ways, and one of them is like I mean, that parts of life. I mean, we get angry with each other, we get mad with each other, we get frustrated, we get, you know, like, I don't know, disappointed, but that's not something that's, you know, torn wrong. It's just part of being a human being. Like, and sometimes we interact and we make each other crazy, but that doesn't mean that we don't love each other. And I always felt that with you while we interacted with your son, this loving presence. You are like this, I don't know, positivity bubble. You have a place and all place lit up. It's all light around you. So I think your mom transmitted this loving presence to you, even if you don't see it yourself in yourself.
That's very kind, Renata. I think that this is a very, very special comment that you made to me. But it is true, when we had been playing together with the kids and see them and enjoying. I think that that's what it makes us friends, I believe, is that we were able to spend time with them. And then, of course, we were very happy to spend time together, but to spend time with them, to play in your garden, to go to the forest together. Um, and that create bonds between you and your kids, me and my kid, between our kids and between you and me. And that shows that the dedication of time that we give, it doesn't matter how much, is the quality that we can give, and that will give us a lot in return. And it's important because we also need to remember that these personalities, no, and it's time. Right now, my son is growing, and I know that soon he's going to be a teenager, and probably is not going to be, or is not going to have the need to be as close as he is now to me. By the contrary, he will have his how do you say, privacy and things like that. And and yes, we will need to respect that, but that doesn't mean that we also should completely accept it and withdraw. By the contrary, I think that it's important that we can reassure that we are there, that we can, then they can count on us, and and to be attentive, because life now is also not so easy. Probably before it was a little bit easier, and there are many. It has always been many concerns that they can be a danger, become a danger to any kid anywhere in the world, and then we need to be attentive, to be there to support them when they are in need, and to move them back to the right path if they are moving out. But it's that what you said. I think that is again, and I'm bringing her again, but that was part of what my mom was doing when she was talking to us. Now I really realized that the dedication of how is your day, and then you talk and you said, oh, I did this, I did that. It was part of that analysis of how much how far I need to go to ask you more questions. Oh, okay, it's fine. I let you to keep going. I can hear that things are okay. And then this bond that we create when we were playing in the forest, or when we were playing with the Legos, or when we were cooking together, allowed us to be a little bit more elastic when they are growing. Then that's an important foundation when we start to become mothers. Let's hope that elastic can keep being close to me. But I don't know. I don't know how I will continue being a mom, because this is a continuous evolution.
Yes.
In the time that our kids grow, we need to evolve with them.
I love the image of this elasticity. Like, there are times like where you put more something into that, so that elastic like take shape. And sometimes it had to stretch, but you have to trust that whatever you put in it, this connection, time together, like talking together, it will hold that thing and it would stay in place.
Indeed, this is we make many metaphors and we always say, oh, this is the foundation of that. But in reality, you see that. And that's what it defines some character. I think that probably the definition of why I did what I did professionally is part of how I grew up. What kind of values were given to me when I was a child. And again, it was a different time, it's different generations. Now there are other things. But that particular thing, it doesn't change in generations. Is whatever you put in that frame is what it can change because it's determined by the time where you are growing on. But the frame itself doesn't change. Doesn't matter which generation, doesn't matter in which year you are growing. It's there and you define it. And I hope, because you never know, I hope that will never break. It just stretch, but it never breaks and remains good for me and my son and allows me to keep trying to be a good mom.
What's the most difficult for you in motherhood? Like what do you struggle the most with?
As a mom?
Yeah.
I think I know that that is a transition where sometimes he wants to be a small child and be close to you, and sometimes he wants to be completely away. Sometimes I don't know all that is passing in his mind because there are many things already between the video games, the TV shows, the books that they are reading, whatever is happening in the school, and you catch a little bit of everything because you're talking to him, because he's telling you things. But I don't have the entire background. And then you need to be attentive because if not, sometimes you also get disconnected. And sometimes, interestingly enough, he comes and told me something, and I said, okay, wait, but what about? And he said, oh, you're not listening what I'm telling you. Then you really need to be attentive because he's not going to tell you everything, but he thinks that he told you. And that's what I struggle with, that I need to follow, but he also, and how to make him realize that I'm not in his mind, then he needs to express a little bit more because now this generation doesn't give you all of the details and expression to clarify what you
they
need to
communicate
have.
in text like keywords.
Exactly. That in the way that we text, I think that sometimes that's what they communicate, and that's when I struggle, and I struggle because his reaction can be, oh, unhappy, and I'm not going to tell you anymore, and I don't want to break that. But maybe I need to be more attentive. Maybe I need to learn more. And I also, that's why I go and sit down and play with him to try to just see and remember the names to keep this link of communication. Because if not, you get completely out, and then the interest that they have, they don't share it with you because you don't pay attention to that. And I think that that's an important moment. This transition and how I'm going to. I will never play super good, but I need to spend my time, even if he wins all the time. But it's just as a matter of being attentive of what he's exposed to and how I can support him. That's the struggle right now for me. And I think that in my motherhood, this has been the most special time.
I know that you two speak Spanish between you, but how much do you expose your son to your own culture? So how do you celebrate like Mexican
Oh, we do.
special days together? You have like traditions. Like, how is he willing to? Because he's been born in, well, he's been born in Asia, but then right away you came to Europe. So he grew up in Europe with all the, Belgian traditions when you are in Switzerland. So how is he open to Mexican culture and traditions?
He's extremely attached to Mexico and Mexican traditions. A little bit less to Mexican food, but yes, to traditions, and because we have always, in his 11 years, he has every single year go to Mexico once or twice, and family is very important for him because he has been always exposed to them. We communicate by WhatsApp. He knows what the cousins are doing. We go for holidays together. And being in Mexico, well, he's exposed to a normal Mexican family where you don't need to make an appointment to go and visit. You just arrive and say, hey, good morning, I have some bread and we should have breakfast together. And yes, we got together and we have breakfast. Or we just call each other and say, okay, what are you doing? Okay, let's go for a walk. And then we go for a walk. This kind of spontaneity he does have. But he loves it, and he knows that is Mexico. Then it's interesting because I can realize that kids adjust very easily. And I think that all of us parents have seen that. But that there are things that they like and there are things that they don't like, even if they adapt. And when they are growing, then they started to express it. But even when they are very tiny, they already feel like uncomfortable with certain things. Then for us, for Jeremy, to be Mexican is a very important part of him. When he has make a presentation in the school about Mexico, he likes to have a typical outfit from Mexico. He likes music. He likes, but I have exposed him to that. It's also important. And he knows that I like mariachi. And funny enough, sometimes when we, one day we were not very happy, or I was not very happy. And then I said, okay, I want to listen to music. I don't want to watch TV. I don't want anything. And then he went for his computer and he put some mariachi songs. And then he came and asked me if I want to dance. And then it's something that for me, it was very special because he realized that I will smile and that I can completely put down my bad humor or whatever. And I thought it's good. He knows that is part of my culture. It's something that I like. And he was trying to balance the situation. And it was a nice way to do it. But it's because he also identified with that. And I think that the culture, we as parents contribute a lot because we talk about our country, we talk about the things that our families do. We expose them to music, we expose them to certain food, and it's the only way that a kid will learn. And if you travel, it's exactly the same situation. Even if it is not your culture, you show them how immense variety exists in the world, and how much you can learn if you embrace that instead of just getting, oh, this is me and this is my culture. But no, how much you can learn about it. And in the school, he says, geography, I love it because I can see many things. And now he was started to say that when he grew up, he's going to be a geography teacher. That I think that is something that in there because I talk about it, because I show pictures, because yeah, no, he has. I don't know if you remember, but when he was very small, he was always saying, what is your nationality? And he was saying, I'm half Mexican, half Belgian, and half Thai.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but
Yes.
it's good. It's good for the kids to know that kids are kids everywhere in the world. And I
Mm,
think that is important for us as parents to learn that the parents will struggle in the same way
mm.
because the kids are kids.
Yes, and parents are parents. I mean, no
Exactly.
matter the country or region or culture or language, it's still parents and still kids. So same joy, same struggle.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
um,
exactly that.
I have one more question for you, Mapy. I think you spent more years abroad than maybe even living in Mexico. How did you deal with, this feeling of homesick? We talked about it when we lived in Belgium, and we talked about how I felt about not being able to live in Lithuania. And so how do you feel with this regular coming feeling that, sometimes you just want to go home?
This is very interesting. I really think that because my job was my passion,
Mm,
and I was for the I have lived this through too many years out of Mexico, but I have never stopped going to Mexico.
mm,
Every year I went to Mexico. For us, for my family, Christmas was very important. It is very important. It's a family together. And every single Christmas, it didn't matter if I was in Middle East or if it was in Asia, I came to Mexico for Christmas to be together.
mm.
And then in the many years of my life as a professional, I missed only twice Christmas. And I think that make the compensation of not being extremely homesick. Yes, there are moments that you feel like, oh, today I
Mm,
could have just go to this place or to this restaurant and to eat this. But you also become a little bit creative. Like when you are uh, you want to eat something, you are craving for some Mexican food. I remember when I was in Tanzania working with refugees, you try to improvise and you change a little bit of the ingredients, but you cook something. And
mm.
then that's the joy, and then to share with other people. And that's how you compensate to be homesick. I, I, I think that I was more homesick of my parents, not to see them,
Mm.
that of my country,
Yeah.
because I was able to do it. But no, every single year to be close to them and to talk to them every week, um, that compensate the absence.
We are fortunate to live in times where we have technology, at least for that purpose, then we can able to connect with people, even if they are across the world, and to talk to them, see them, like as I see you now, even if you are not in Vilnius, I'm in Vilnius, you're in Geneva, but we can see each other and talk to each other. That technology played a major role in that, like living apart, but still be able to connect.
Indeed, indeed, this is an amazing thing, because for many years when I was in different countries, you only can talk with a satellite phone at that moment, and you cannot see them, and you cannot talk too long because it was too expensive. But it was fantastic, and that compensates my need of home, and that was good. That was
Mhm.
definitely good.
Thank you, Mapy. Thank you for your time and the conversation and your honesty and so many things you shared. I really much appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you to you for doing this. I think that it's very important for many parents, many of us, just to hear each other, and thank you for being you, because you're my friend, but I always think that this is a very special gift that you have to try to also help others, and that's very kind.
Thank
Big
you.
hug. Love you.